I'm happy to bring in Wolfango Piccoli, the co-president of Teneo. Thank you and good morning. Great to have you with us. So today, the wheels have finally set in motion, and we should at some point find out who the leaders of both houses are going to be, the Chamber of Deputies and the Senate. Reports are suggesting that we could get somebody from FDI, so Fratelli d'Italia, in the Senate seat, and then somebody from Lega in the lower house. If that is the case, what signaling will that have on the likely composition of the rest of the Italian cabinet at this point?
The first thing to monitor today is whether the right-wing bloc will be able to elect the speaker in the Senate. On paper, they have the numbers. Given the quorum required, they should be able, as long as there are no surprises in the secret ballots. So that is the first test for today. As for the lower chamber, we might have to wait the fourth round of voting. That most likely will be tomorrow, because the quorum required in the lower chamber is a different one, is an higher one. So that will be today a test for the integrity, the cohesion of the right-wing coalition. Then we're going to have to wait until next week when the official talks with the President of the Republic starts in terms of forming a government. So that is where we are at this point. As you alluded in your introduction piece, there is still a huge question mark about the composition on the cabinet. Things are moving still a bit slowly, but there is still time at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, a lot of names have come up as potentials for that finance minister position. What I found interesting is that a lot of names have also seemed to refuse the position. The likes of Panetta, Seniscalco also reportedly have not accepted to take on the role. Why do you think this is such a poison chalice? What is the hesitation for people to take on the role as Italian finance minister?
Well, if I were Panetta, I would agree with him and keep my cozy job in the ECB rather than landing in Rome and, as you just alluded, inheriting a very difficult agenda. I don't know what are the personal choices here, and also I think there is a question mark whether Meloni has reached out to these people and so on. A couple of points. First, whoever is going to be in the Treasury Finance Minister position is going to have a very limited room for maneuver. There is a looming recession, there is higher borrowing cost, and there is an energy challenge crisis still ahead of us. So the agency of who's going to be there is going to be limited. Second, I will not really give too much importance to who's going to be the finance minister here. I doubt that most investors actually remember who were the finance minister in the Conte governments 1 and 2, frankly. At the end of the day, the decision will be taken, the final shots, the final call stays with the prime minister. And then you have on top of this an additional layer of complexity due to the coalition arrangement. So the other challenge for Meloni, especially on the spending front, will be to control the Lega. Obviously, an internationally renowned finance minister helps in terms of marketing, but in terms of substance and policy making in Rome is a different kind of ball game.
Wolfango, we've seen many governments across the board fold in terms of giving in to populations requiring more support during this cost of living crisis. Spain, the latest one this morning, coming up with another 3 billion euros. You say there's not much room for anyone who's sitting in that finance minister role. But what further support could Italy come up with without tipping some sort of market event into the Italian bond market?
Yeah, there is around 10 billion left for the remainder of this year available of fiscal space. That is because the revenues were higher than projected, mainly because of the inflation. I expect that a good part of this money will be used to renew some of the energy measures that were already implemented by the Draghi government, which are expiring basically at the end of November. So I will expect basically simply rollover of these measures. And there is potentially also another 10-15 billion next year of fiscal space available, which is obviously not sufficient.